I did a video some time ago, saying, the titling Before We Were Born. And, there was a time where you didn't exist, potentially, and I didn't exist. There was an origin of our being, okay? However many lifetimes ago, not in the flesh per se. If we were all a part of the source, then there was a time, maybe we don't understand time, but there was a moment or something or other when a piece of you was born, an indifferentiated you, soul spirit, was manifested or came into existence, not necessarily this existence. In a way, if you look at a tree, and a tree grows and produces seeds. Now the seed, in a sense, it's from the tree itself. It's an embodiment of the tree. It's an expression of the tree. But now the seed is something very different. And the seed, which is planted and sprouts, turns into its own separate entity in a way. Yes, the fundamentals are still there. The essence of life is still the same from the tree to you, the sprout, tree being the source, okay, being the universe, being God, being the totality of all and everything, if you want to call it, whatever it might be, however you want to put it. And then there's you, there's a seed of soul, if you will. And it appears that the soul grows by incarnating and many other things, but incarnating for one into this body, into this time, into this place, into this dimension, for a purpose of which it seems to grow. Okay? So, the thing is that with a seed, okay, the seed is blessed with certain type of genetics. And each one of our, let's say, us being souls or spirits, which are a seed, let's just say whatever it is, are blessed with a unique genetic, if you want to call it that, characteristics, traits. We are blessed. We are blessed to have a good voice, somebody who's blessed with a good voice, ability to paint. Now, we can all probably paint to a certain degree, and we can all sing to a certain degree, and we can all practice those and get better at it, but some people are natural. Some people are just born natural. It's just innate, it's just natural. And those are blessings. So what I'm saying now is that not just our character and our traits and our abilities are blessings. We were blessed into being. That's what I'm saying. We are blessed. It's not just, I think, like God is a tree and then lets off seeds. God, in a way, takes a little bit apart away from himself, so to speak. Okay, again, words are failing here. We can't do justice, whatever it is, but we need to imagine. We need to try and understand that you were individuated, you were not cut off, but you were produced from, in a way. Again, the seed is not necessarily separate from, it carries the same gene as the original tree, if you will, in a way. I don't know, maybe not the best metaphor, but what I'm saying is that our being is a blessing, right? We have been blessed to exist in the first place. You see? And then further and foremost, you have been blessed more so with your abilities, with your skills, with your talents, whatever it might be. And then the rest, these are your genetics in a way, your unique genetics. And then the rest is up to us in this incarnation and many others, and maybe other lives after this, in between lives, whereby we grow, whereby we develop through circumstances, through experiences, through choices, right? Where we are evolving ourselves, we are growing the spirit, we are developing, right? Through choice, through consciousness, through love, through heart. We're on a journey here. We're on this constant journey of evolving the soul, of knowing more, right? Of understanding more. I mean, look, this conversation now, this is quite a deep conversation, or a spiritual, existential conversation, or whatever you want to call it, which is quite far out. And it's like you can't really grasp this entirely when you start on this journey. There's just no ways. It takes time, it takes development, it takes comprehension, it takes experience, it takes discipline, it takes sacrifice. It's a whole process. It's a whole process. It's a whole becoming, and then eventually, you grow and you start developing, and so on and so forth. So it's like, in the beginning, you only have maybe one leaf, and then you expand to 2 leaves if you're a seedling, right? And you start to grow and expand out. I mean, I grow Mary Jane, and I'm very impatient with it, because in the beginning it's very slow. But once it takes off, and once it's like halfway through, then it just starts going wild, and the leaves start coming out, branches start coming out, the buds start producing, and it's like a whole, and it just turns into such a magnificent display, in a way, and smells, and it's incredible, and the stem gets thicker and harder by the weeks and the months, and you just see, and it's really incredible. Okay, to see it, to marvel at it in that way. And so that's us as well. And now the thing is that what I'm saying is that I think that most people don't self-actualize, they don't individuate, they don't realize the blessing of of their uniqueness, of their opportunity to sprout. Okay, again, maybe not the best metaphor, but to sprout. Most people don't realize this. Most people don't want to do it. Most people are unaware of it. And of course, the matrix and culture and whatever it is, the other side, the materialistic side, is here to completely distract you from that. Okay? From your whole life. Instead of putting the energy into sprouting, it wastes your life away. It helps you. It doesn't force it upon you. It pressurizes you, and it deceives you, and it manipulates you, and that's parents, and it's upbringing, whatever you want to know. You know what it is. It's the Plato's cave. That's what Plato's cave is about. That's what I say about the Matrix is about. So it's for you to self-actualize, to develop your uniqueness, your individualness, or something or other. Because again, each one of us is a very, very unique ingredient, if you will. We're a makeup of all different kind of ingredients, in a way, and we need to express that as well. So, like, I don't think there's 2 dogs that are alike. I probably think, maybe certain species like fish or birds or something like that. But animals with personalities, it doesn't seem like there's one animal that's alike, but like across the board. But yet dogs, how many hundreds of millions of dogs are there in the world? If not 1 billion or so, probably. And yet each one has got its own unique personality, and none of them are the same. Same with cats, in a way. They got all different types of temperaments, and yes, a lot of them is because of the nature, and a lot of it, I'm saying, is nature and nurture. But for ourselves, we come in with a unique kind of code. Like, that's what Neo is in the Matrix. He's actually code. He's a very unique kind of code. And when he walks through the door of the Matrix, he resets it. Something like that. And so we all carry unique type of code. Our thumbprints, fingerprints are all different from around the whole world. I think our tongue has also got a print as well, and it's not the same. Like, that says, hold on a minute, we are not the same in so many ways. And again, so the thing is that most people don't actualize this, right? They don't work and expand on their individuation. They conform and they spend most of their life living through the ego, through the authentic self, inspired and motivated by the superego or whatever it is, and not actually thinking for themselves. They're needing to be told what to do. And what I'm saying is that almost in a way they're not really alive because they haven't really sprouted their seeds. And now, I think it's the Gnostics that say, if you do not self-actualize, or if you do not, my kind of understanding, if you don't even sprout a little bit, like you don't have to really, you just have to grow a few roots and sink yourself into the soil, right? So that when you die, I'm just saying, I'm using a bad metaphor, you don't get washed away into oblivion and almost just go back into the Godhead, go back into absorbed into the ocean of all beingness, like you were a drop and now you're being, absorbed back in, now you just don't even exist anymore, right? And then you'll say, well, what about that person's karma? Surely they have karma to pay off their karma. Certainly there's maybe an idea of hell, like they've got to go to hell and burn for all eternity, which absolutely makes no sense, right? So, I don't know, I would like to think that through near-death experiences and what I've heard, is that no being is just absorbed into the whole. But even if they were, it wouldn't be such a terrible thing now, maybe, perhaps, in a way. It's hard to say, but it would be unfortunate because the potential hasn't been fulfilled. That unique potential, that opportunity hasn't been fulfilled, that expression of the divine with the tools that you've been given, right? Not you, me, all of us have been given, has never been actualized, has never been used, And so it's terrible. Like, I'm thinking of getting this gym machine and I'm like really worried because I'm going to get it, I'm not going to use it, it's going to sit in the corner and collect dust. I'm going to hang my clothes over it, I'm going to be like, what a waste. Like food that isn't eaten, is really, it's difficult. Like food that's wasted, it's not nice, And so energy that isn't sort of expanded upon and just gets depleted instantly or just evaporates. Energy can't really, apparently, evaporate. It's always continuous. So that's what, anyway, I like to think that potentially. But what I'm saying is that, like, okay, so karma, again, I think I mentioned this before, is the fact that you missed out on an opportunity for your own ability to sprout, your own ability for your soul growth, right? You missed out. You missed out the opportunity. And I think that in itself is an incredible, immense amount of suffering that's in there. Regret is really difficult. It's a difficult one, and it's sort of not self-imposed, but it's because like hell would be imposed upon you, right? Like somebody burning you or what do you call it? Torturing you or something like that. That's imposed upon you. But like regret is almost self-imposed. It's like, missed opportunity, it's yourself to blame, and you can victimize yourself in a way, but it's not so easy, I think, to victimize when you feel like there was an opportunity for you. Like you could say, yeah, but I didn't have this, or I didn't have a good teacher, I didn't have a good upbringing, I didn't have the, whatever it is, or you can never excuse it, but like, that's maybe something else, but I don't know, I just feel like, regret and shame for like, not, whatever it is, that's just one of the, like wasted life. I think that's just embarrassing. I think it's tormenting on the soul. I think it's tormenting on the individual. And I think, again, like, because we're in a society and culture where majority of people waste their lives away, if you had to remove them and put them into a society or culture or a place where people were not wasting their lives, then they wouldn't be able to feel proud of wasting their lives or being, somebody in the matrix, being, something or other, asleep. In this culture, we commend it, we applaud it, right? by wasting your life watching trash, eating trash, talking trash. You just about name it, being as false as you can, being as wasteful as you can, being like wasting your time, chasing money more than you need to, chasing fame. In our culture, being a hustler, that's seen as like, because it's inverted. But if we took the person out, if you took the soul out and put them in a state of pureness, of truth, it would be like, like a burning of the sun or something like that. Not, I mean, like being too close to the sun and you're just on fire. It's just like, it's just too hot. So, if you ever open the oven door too quickly and it's still the steam, you kind of, it feels like it can burn you or something like that. So it's just too hot. It's just too unpleasant. I was thinking about this the other day, like, for myself and you folks listening, like more than anything, we would thrive and we would thoroughly just like, I don't know, be so inspired or whatever it is, if we all lived together in a way, in a community, right, old school style type of thing, with very little, I mean, with technology, but we wouldn't be addicted to it. We would be self-sustaining, would live off the land completely. We would have no pharmaceuticals or very little. We won't need it because we would have our own doctors and medicines and healers and shamans and whatever. It's a very small community, not very small, maybe a few hundred, a few thousand or something like that. And and we'd be living, and the children would be healthy, and there wouldn't be threats of having something to be injected with, or having to wear things and having to again put up with all of this shit, whatever it is. And we would thrive, and we'd have one another, we'd sit around the fires at night, we would talk, we would share stories, we'd share our experiences, we'd do ceremonies, we'd take psychedelics, whatever it might be. There'll be entertainment every night, people playing instruments, poetry in the evening, dance evening, whatever, you just about name it. We'll be creative, we'll be brilliant, we'll be just like caring, we'll be respecting to one another, respecting to our animals, right? Whatever it is, we'll be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. There's no question about it, right? But if you had to take somebody from, your next door neighbor or someone from the Matrix and put them in that environment, they would freak out. They'd be like, I can't handle this, like, because they'll be maybe, spending hours on their makeup and hours on their nails, and people would look and say, and you'd feel like so out of sorts. It's like, no, the real beauty is within. I mean, it's nice to take care of oneself and look presentable, yes, but you know what I mean, like the fancy golds or whatever it is, and just like, and there'll be no junk foods. Well, where am I going to get my sugar fixes? Where am I going to get my alcohol? There will be alcohol, but I mean, it's not like abusive. Well, I need to check up on my social medias. I need to see my Instagrams. I need to see, all these addictions will be like, no, there's none of that. And they'd freak out. I remember when people came to spend time on the farm, and I had the self-sustaining farm, and they'd freak out, like the internet wasn't good or whatever it was. And it was just like, they just freaked out, and they wanted to go into town all the time and do shopping, and it was terrible for them. Anyway, that's besides the point. But, and that's kind of what I'm saying, is that, I think, so coming back, I don't know, that was kind of a side note, but I think it's important at the same time, because I think it's important to recognize who you are and who we are and the blessing that we are. Now, again, like most people don't actually want to think that they are a blessing. That, I mean, you might, I mentioned all the qualities of, well, if you've got a good voice, if you can dance well, if you got a sense of humor, like whatever it is that you've been blessed with and you've worked upon, and you've developed as well. But what about the people that are born, with disabilities, and whatever it is? It's like, where's that a blessing? And again, that's a hard thing to understand, and I'm not on that level to understand it, but it is in some way. It adds to the whole bigger experience of existence. And that's what we're all a part of. It's not just you self-actualizing for the sake of you and your own becoming and planting, and sprouting and becoming a seedling and then growing. It's not just you, but it's what you add to the whole, the whole of existence, And so, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. And so again, on this planet, it will be the furthest thing from most people's minds, even the most religious, to think that, well, no, you're really a divine being and you have so much responsibility. Like, you have no idea about honoring that, and respecting that and fighting for that, because most things in this world are going to try and take that away and mislead you from yourself. And you've got to follow that, right? And work upon that and expand upon that and evolve. And if you don't, it's going to be tremendously painful for you, right? Just as a result of your own actions, because you've denied yourself. You've denied that blessing that you've been given. You've wasted that opportunity. And when you're not around, all your peers are also wasting their time away, wasting their lives away. Then and it's real. It's a real moment. Then it's going to be too hard for you to bear. And so you'll come down again, and you'll come down again. You'll incarnate again. You'll go around and you'll go around, and you'll just, and you'll just do it, and it will just be a vicious cycle. And I don't know. I think that people do get worse. I don't think that if you just stagnate, I think you do get worse. It's like, when you watch these My 600 Pound or 500 Pound Life, the people that put on these massive amounts of weight, it's like they don't get any better, right? I'm saying they just get worse. I don't stagnate, because the addiction or whatever it is, the comforting of why they're eating, of why they're doing this, just not for everybody, but I'm just saying, but that's what happens, I think, in our lives. The more that we regress, the more that we suppress the authentic self, the soul, the spirit, our reason for being here, the worse off we become. I think the worse kind of character we get involved in. I think we become more, scrupulous. We have no scruples. We become more corrupt. And I think that's what you see on the world stage, is that those people who offer themselves to a certain degree and say, look, I'm really a tyrant, I'm really a nasty piece of shit, I got so many lifetimes to go, or whatever it is, I don't know. Let's I don't know. I mean, I don't know really. It's foolish to. I'm not that I know much of this at all, but I do think that there's consequences. I don't think that just because everybody's doing the same thing, and when I go to heaven, I'll just take my chances. When I die, I'll just take my chances and whatever it is, and that'll be okay. I don't think so. I don't think that it's okay. I don't think it's that you'll be commended, or you'll be satisfied for yourself, and it's more for yourself. I think you'll just feel for yourself. It's like, well, you let yourself down more than you let God down, and you need to be punished or something like that. You just let yourself down, and that's the worst. That's the absolute worst. So you see, so it's not like damnation. It's love. It's love. It's like, I wanted more for you, for yourself. That's what God says. I wanted more for you. But, you did let me down, and, it's fine, but you've more so let yourself down. I gave you an opportunity. I gave you a blessing, and you just didn't take it. You just didn't believe in yourself. You just didn't think that you could be so divine, or you just could be so special. You could be that significant. You could be that unique. A unique recipe that I created of you, a unique combination, characteristic traits, or whatever it is, that you are going to use in this world. Whether I gave you a good voice, you're going to sing, and you're going to, have you needed to learn the confidence to sing and believe in yourself, and then you were going to inspire people, warm the hearts of people, sing songs of, meanings, poetry, whatever it might have been, but you didn't, or whatever it is. And so I'm disappointed for you. For you, I'm disappointed. All right, folks. Thanks for taking the time. Be well.